Thank you for stopping by the Truckers Lounge. We are your hosts. I'm Priest, and this is Gene.
All right, how you guys doing?
Real quick, I'm gonna do something a little different at the beginning of the show. I really want to talk to the viewers real quick. We all know it's the issue going on in the trucking industry. We got uh, inconsistency with rates over here. They telling us we're in a freight recession. You got the FMCSA over here. They passing regulations that doesn't make sense. You got drivers being mistreated at the warehouses, being held a crazy amount of time, to get loaded and unloaded. And you got fuel prices fluctuating crazy. So the question that we should have, I know I have, are we and when we going to do something about this? And I have a solution here. On this side, you got the elders, which I consider supreme in the industry because of the knowledge. And on this side, you got the younger generation, which is supreme in their own rights because of the understanding they got with technology and the way that the world operates today. We got to figure out how to bring these two together because when you look in history and you look at the stories of ancient tribes, the chiefs very rarely hit the battlefield. The leaders, they very rarely hit the battlefield. They led their village, their troops with their knowledge, and the younger generation put in the work. So we got to figure out how can we bring those two together to end some of this craziness that's going on in the industry. Because, like I said, they say we in a freight recession, but but in certain aspects of it, I don't see it because I would think a recession would be in comparison to a depression. And I know when we hear about history of the story about the Great Depression, everyone was doing bad. No one was making major moves. So, what can we do to bring this together? So, one of the things that we can do is, for one, the younger generation, you got to get your heart off your shoulder. You got to stop wearing your heart on your sleeve. Learn the difference between constructive criticism and when somebody hating on you. A lot of these guys with experience are not hating on you. They just don't know how to come across to you. To the elders, if you don't have a fight in you, stop hollering this bullshit strike shit all the time because you talking about something that worked back in the 80s and 90s. They done figured out a way to block that because every time you scream strike, a big trucking company buys out another company. So we gotta do something different because I'm tired of hearing the whining and the crying and all this nonsense carrying on and nobody doing anything about it. You got content creators out there that telling you to strike, but every time they post up a video, they talking about what's going on the load that they're on. My message to them is attitude is reflected by leadership. When you open up your platform, you opening up yourself to a position of being a leader. So you can't scream strike and think people are going to follow you. You have to lead by example and shut down yourself and hope that others will follow. Then you got content creators over here giving out outdated information. Good information, just outdated, just so that they can sell their masterclass. So it's a lot going on here that's really got us talking in a different language, kind of like the uh Gene, wasn't it the Tower of Babylon in the Bible?
Tower of Babel? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When they tried to build the tower and God cursed them to start speaking different languages.
Right, right. Try to build a tower to heaven. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what's going on in the trucking industry. And it's
Right.
done by design. Well, let me rephrase that. That's kind of what's going on in the trucking industry on the medium and small level.
Mm.
Because the FMCSA is not going to let us address one regulation before they pass two more. you know, and shippers are out here starting brokerages just so they could take advantage of the cheap rates that the market say that you guys will take. So we just got to figure out a way. So let's talk about it, Gene.
All right. So that's a pretty good opening. And we had a discussion several times about, like what you said to some of the older ones. A lot of the older ones are set in their ways.
Yeah.
You can't really, like, like the saying goes, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. And a lot of older drivers make that saying true every day,
Yeah.
because they refuse to learn. We speak all the time about reinventing yourself. All of these major trucking companies that's out here that are buying up the smaller companies that's been around 10, 20, 30 years, how do you think they've been that way? They didn't
Right.
they didn't they didn't get there for 30 years and that size for 30 years and continue to be making billion-dollar purchases because they stayed the same way. No, they reinvented themselves and they learned new tricks along the way because they realize a lot of them, they're smart enough to say, I don't know it all. I'm gonna get someone younger to who's already went to college. They keep their ear to the ground. I'm gonna just direct them, but I'm gonna allow them to do what they need to do because they so fresh and full of fight in them. They got a lot of fight in them,
Right.
And so I think that's a big key is, like you said, trying to get both sides to come together and work together. And
Right.
man, what could we become if we did that?
We could become an iron fist.
Exactly.
We really could, because just to comment on a part that you said about, about the difference in the generation. See, that's why the older guys need to start weaponizing their wisdom instead of their actually, boots to the ground deal when they giving out advice to the younger generation, because the older generation don't believe in reinventing themselves.
Right.
They believe in just staying behind the wheel of a truck. Man, one thing I say about the younger generation that I could salute them for, they don't mind trying new things.
Hmm.
They don't mind researching, even though when they researching a lot of this stuff they may not understand, but they willing to try it. See, that's where the older generation should come in. Don't
Hmm.
discourage them for the new ideas they got, because the new ideas they got them from somewhere. So
Hmm.
why not, as an elder, listen to these new ideas. Listen to them tell you what's working now, because with your knowledge, you'll be able to latch on to what they're saying and even be able to advise them on a lot of stuff that you hadn't tried yet, because you know the industry itself so well. A lot of the things that they could tell you would be familiar to you. You never tried them, but you're seeing other people do them. You're seeing other big companies do them. And you have to think about it. Okay, LTL. You hear drivers, the older driver all the time. I ain't unload no truck.
Right.
I ain't getting back there with no pallet jack. But
Hmm.
man, those are like very rich companies. The LTL companies are very rich and are always working direct with the shipper.
And they making 80 plus thousand a year coming through the door.
And that's just the company guy.
Yeah.
So, if you got an owner operator that want to try the lane of LTL and they tell you they considering it, don't tell the young guy or the young lady, no, I wouldn't do that. Advise them on a proper way to do it, resources that you may have found on how to charge. If they tell you, well, I'm seeing resources saying that I should charge like this, then you tell them, well, don't forget to calculate your fuel costs, all your expenses. Make sure you're calculating all your expenses and including that into your rate. That's what the older generation should be telling the younger generation,
Right.
instead of it being uh um a back and forth, I'm against you, you against me type deal. Because this is an industry that could give a branch in your family financial stability for generations to come if it's done the correct way.
Right. Good.
Right. So this is not, I wouldn't look at this as a hustle. Now you can call yourself a hustler and run multiple businesses, but I wouldn't look at none of my businesses as a hustle. If you're looking at it like that, you're looking at it the wrong way.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. Because uh, a lot of people, some of the people who working for you were probably like, "So I'm a hustler, huh?" I said, you hustling up on all these businesses, and I'm a part of it. I'm a hustle.
Right, right, yeah. So yeah, these are the things that we need to do. But since we are here now, we have to figure out ways of surviving in this, because every year you got renewals. You got your tags, you got your insurance, you got your heavy highway taxes, you got if the every quarter. Man, you got so many expenses coming out. It's easy to think that you're making money that's not there. In most cases, you have your quarterly taxes,
Hmm.
and I'm speaking in terms strictly for owner operators who have their own authority. That's not to say it don't apply to drivers who are
Least,
leasing on,
yeah.
but when it comes to owner operator, you got a lot of weight on you when it comes to taxes. And I know of guys around in my area, when they were here, man, you paying $30,000 taxes a year, man. I don't pay that. That was like 3 years ago. This year they've been having to, a lot of them been having to catch up on those 3 years because they didn't know
Right.
that the government would be so shady that they would take over 30% of your earnings
Hmm.
as a businessman. So you have to learn how to budget. So that's why we want to demonstrate this budget spreadsheet we created. This is going to be something that's free that we're going to be giving away. We're going to leave a link in the description, and a link to the document in the description,
Okay.
so you guys could have this to play around with, compare it and contrast with what you already have, in terms of your
Calculating
uh
the
well,
expense.
no, your dispatch software. A
Oh,
lot
okay.
of cases
Yeah.
your dispatch software offer these, but it's kind of hard to keep everything in one place in
Hmm.
the trucking industry. Not saying that it's impossible, but it's so many different expenses that's separate from your business and your personal. It's kind of hard to keep track of it. So we wanted to offer this spreadsheet that we're going to be demonstrating. Um, Now, by no means is this spreadsheet finished. I'm just demonstrating this. Um, so what we got here, this is the monthly business budget sheet here. Uh, you got your column for your monthly budget, your monthly expenses, and your monthly report. Now, on this spreadsheet, you can readjust this how you want. Uh, if these expenses don't apply to you, or it's not enough, or it's too many, you can delete them all, or what have you. Just don't mess with the formulas, and that's what I mean by the formulas. You don't want to mess that because it's gonna corrupt everything. If you want to know if one of these have formulas in it, just hover over it, double click, and you'll be able to see. But anyway, you got your expense bar graph. You know what you plan to spend, what you actually spend. Same thing with your income, what you plan to spend and what you actually spend. Savings as well. Up here, I want to touch on this. This is where you will put your starting balance at. That's the amount that will be in your business checking account. Now, this spreadsheet can apply to your personal. You can change this up however you like, if you want to use it for your personal. But I'm doing this demonstration strictly for businesses purposes. So down here you got your columns of all your expenses right here in this side here. I'm not going to read them all off to you. You can kind of see, but I'm gonna give you an idea how this works. When you put your information in here, you're going to click on each one of these columns. You're going to put in what you plan to spend. Don't worry about putting anything here because, like I say, on the actual and difference, those are the formulas. I'm gonna show you in a second where the calculation for those are going to come from. But it's the same thing with the income as well. These again, like I say, these here can be changed up or added any kind of way you want to put it. But I think I covered all the bases in it in terms of the expenses. And the same
Oh,
thing for the savings column. Same thing. Put what you plan to save. This is going to show what you actually save. This is going to be the difference in what you say. So now I want to show you exactly where all that activity is going to come from. Okay, if you scroll down here to the bottom, you got the summary and you got your second page transaction at the very bottom here. When you come to the transaction page, you're going to see a list, a column for expenses, a column for income, a column for savings. You got your categories list. The category list is very important. They don't have functions, but the category list is already set based on what you see here in your expense section and your income section. So you go back to the transaction list, and whatever you spend, whatever date you spend it, you put that amount in here. Just like here, you see $650 for fuel. Go back to the bottom of the page here and click on summary, and you go up here to fuel here. You'll see right here 650 was spent in fuel. I planned to spend 800, but I actually spent $650. So that was a difference of 150, which that 150 has a plus sign to it because that's going to be a saving, which is very important. If you plan your budget out on every trip on what you plan to spend, this is really going to be important information to you. The ones that you see with the negative beside it, as you can see, I got zero in the actual because I hadn't put anything in those columns on the transaction page. But right here on the income, I did put that Triumph Pay got paid $850 through them. Go back to the summary list over here. Income factoring company $850. I plan to make $35,000 that month. So again, I say the transaction list isn't complete, so that's why you see that negative here of 34,150. Now, if you plan to make $35,000 and you only made 850, you can take that as a mental loss of $34,150.
Yeah.
But just don't let it jab at you too much because it's just your projections on that.
Right.
Uh, Same thing with savings. $200. Go back to the summary. You see savings, $200 under my personal. Go back to transaction. You'll see I got the column for personal. All my categories are right here. All the categories are right here for you to find. So, but again, like I said, I think I got all the bases covered. But to go back over here to the summary list, you'll start seeing your information chart up here. And as it charts up, you'll be able to get a good picture of what you're looking like. Right now, I'm at negative 29%. That's a decrease in total savings. Uh, I saved negative $2,882 this month. So, again, like I said, this wasn't a complete list. This is just to show you that these formulas actually work. Now, when you receive this, which we will have a link in the description below, uh, we're going to post it below. If anything changes up and the link doesn't work correctly like it should, um, please email us a comment below, and we'll email you a copy of it so that you can keep it in your file. So, but like once you receive it, this is what your page is going to look like. Gene, you see that where it's zeroed out,
Yeah, I see it.
right? This is what your page is going to look like because nothing is filled out. Everything is empty. Just remember to put your starting balance in here because it's going to pull from that. So make sure you put your starting balance in there. And this will be yours. And then all you got to do, if you need extra copies, what I would suggest, just make you a copy for the year. Just go to file, go down to make a copy, and make you multiple copies. Now, when you receive this, it's going to come through. It's going to look different than this because if your system is like ours, you're going to have to click to either make it an Excel or a Google Sheet. Once you do that, it'll open up to you just like this, and you can make as many copies you want. Keep this for as long as you need to, and you can also use this to print out records to your CPA
That's
if you
good.
got one to do your taxes. So this is going to be very helpful information, and like I say, we will be giving this away for free.
Yeah, that's good. Cause now y'all, he gave us credit for doing it, but actually he did all that by himself. You know, he created this spreadsheet. Did a great job on it
I
because
appreciate
you
that.
know this is something he loved. He's good with numbers. He loved numbers, so he'll go
Oh
back
yeah.
and forth. Man, you start talking about numbers, he get excited. Because he loved math. But this is something when I was a lease driver, I didn't really understand. I understood the value of spreadsheet, but I didn't know how to start. I didn't know
Right.
where to start, and this would help out a whole lot of guys, whether they're leased or have their own authority, to really know exactly where they are, with
Right.
their finances. And this is real good. And yeah, I
And
hope.
and it's very important.
Right. And I hope y'all really, try and work it. If you don't understand how to work it, like I said, refer back to the
Right.
video where he explained, or well, watch some YouTube videos. But
Oh yeah,
this,
most definitely. Please watch
yeah,
some YouTube videos because it helped me build it.
right. So, yeah, that's a good job.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. But yeah, man, but I want everybody to have an opportunity to be successful in this storm because it's definitely a storm that we in, and this could be a help. Now, I can't tell you how to make $1 million in this storm. I'm not going to even sell you a lie like that. But at the same time, I don't want to discourage you either because we, a lot of us who's not in the situation, have to understand that the economy tricked a lot of us. When the pandemic happened,
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, we lost priest. But like he was saying, a lot of us got food uh, when the economy came around, and so as the during the pandemic, I'm sorry, a lot of us got tricked into thinking that, hey, we can just get out here and make all kinds of money. A lot of people did, but
right,
on the flip side, a lot of people thought that it was gonna last forever. And a lot of
right,
people went out and got and consumed a whole lot of debt, not
right,
only for their business but personally. Started
right,
taking vacations that they should have been saving for. Started building homes from the ground up, and just consuming a whole lot of debt.
right,
And so following these budgets and some of these tips that we're going to be bringing to you guys, hopefully in this current environment that we're in, you can when you come to those crossroads and trying to decide on where do I need to go.
right.
Hopefully some of these tips and this information will help you to really know exactly where you are right now and where you're going.
Right, yeah, I had a little glitch right there. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had when
Uh-uh.
I said I had lost connection. I don't know what happened. I apologize about that. But
Oh yeah, you
but
good.
just in case Eugene didn't touch on to exactly what I was finna say, he gave a lot of information. But what I wanted to add in as far as the getting trick part, uh, rates went up and the truck cost went up. Did you touch on that
No,
about the truck
I
cost?
I didn't talk
Okay,
about
so
it.
what I want to touch on with that is that's why striking is not going to work. A lot of
Mm,
new guys came in this industry and they bought these trucks for a high rate, a crazy rate, and it's got a lot of guys trapped. And
yeah.
you can't tell nobody to take a chance on destroying their credit just to strike because this happened in the industry. They
Yeah.
mindset is saying, I gotta keep working. I gotta make something to pay for this truck. So we gotta be
Mhm.
understanding toward this. So that's one of many reasons why we wanted to bring the budget tracker to you to help out because I know that it's hard to keep up with all that in your ELD system if it offer it, your dispatch system, you got things everywhere. And then on this, you can download the Google Sheets app or the Excel sheet app too. I think you can download the Excel sheet app as well if you use Microsoft, and you can put in your transaction through there and still save it as long as everything's logged in under your Google account. But back to the equipment, Eugene want to share his expertise on getting the most out of your equipment. When I met this guy, first time I met him, he was spray painting the frame of his truck. And when I got started, the name of the game was to get older trucks, and because they was cheaper, and you didn't have to have a lot of sentimental value to it. But he was out there, he was spray painting his rims and spray painting the frame of his truck, and and that sparked the conversation naturally because now I'm curious because I wasn't doing that. I'm a
Right.
renegade. Uh, I'm a renegade. Uh,
Uh,
uh, so anyway, he said, "Well, it's a DOT blitz this week," and it made a lot of sense what he said that I never thought about or didn't even have anybody in my circle that even looked at it, taking care of your equipment that way. So I understood then that he was efficient about how he did things. So I'm gonna let him take over on this topic about efficiency is the key, which is a question. So I'm gonna let him answer that for you.
okay, appreciate that.
No
Yeah,
problem.
but yeah, I was that time like I said when we first met, I had just washed my truck, and like he said, it was that like the brake uh check week for DOT during that time, and so I got an '07 Freightliner Century, and so I washed my truck real good. I had some very high gloss black spray paint that I got from Freightliner that they
Right,
said they use on doing body work. Got it from Freightliner, and so everything under my hood that was supposed to be black,
right.
spray painted. Brake chambers all on the frame, the brake chambers, shocks, everything. That truck was looking like brand new money,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
you was taking care of it now.
And then I had white rims, so I had that high gloss white spray paint spraying the rims, so
Right,
everything looked real good. But so that brings us to the tips that I wanted to give to the owner operators, whether you're leased on to a carrier or you have your own authority. These are some things that hopefully you can probably implement if you can change your habits, your emotional habits. You can implement these things to probably help you save some money. So
right,
one of the things I wanted to say was plan your routes. If you take your time out to plan your routes where you need to go instead of just putting in the GPS and just going, plan your routes, take your time to get there. Pretty much try to plan your route so that you get your best fuel mileage on each trip. Search for fuel discounts. Now you can sign up for fuel discounts programs on trucking apps, and one of the ones that I am familiar with is the Mudflap Inc.com.
hold it
That
together.
yeah, mudflapinc.com is one. Now, with this company, you don't need a fuel card. All you have to do is pull up the location along your route that you want to get fuel from. The
Right,
app will give you a fuel code for that truck stop, which you give to the cashier to turn on the pump for you.
right,
Pump your fuel, and you'll be charged the discounted price that you saw on the app. And so don't worry about going back inside to pay the cashier because you pay your bill through the app. And the app will also email you your receipt. So
right,
this is a good one because it shows you a big area of what the fuel um, prices, the negotiated fuel prices are with all of their participating locations. So
right,
you can get multiple, and this is just like a discount deal. You don't have to be obligated to anything. So there are multiple fuel accounts out there or fuel discount cards that you can take advantage of that'll help you out. You gotta probably have to do a little bit more work in terms of just really searching and going from this app to that app. But over the course of a week, you might save $200,
mhm,
and that's a big savings over the course of a year. Another thing I wanted to say was follow your owner's manual about your maintenance schedule. If you look at your owner's manual, there's a maintenance schedule that it'll show you all the things that you should be checking on your truck. It'll say when you get to this amount of miles, check this. When you get to this amount of miles, change that. And at least if you're doing that, I think my truck had about I don't know, 700,000 miles on it. When
right.
by the time I actually just thought to pay attention, I was doing a restart somewhere. I was bored, and I just decided to just look at that man. I'm like, dang, I ain't never done this.
He read the whole manual, y'all.
Yeah,
That's why this topic is his. I ain't saying
yeah, yeah.
nothing. I'm listening.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all the stuff I had never done. I didn't know anything about changing the transmission fluid and stuff like that, filtered. I didn't know anything about all this type of stuff that you were supposed to change. I just thought that when you get your oil changed, they'll just let you know, hey, you might want to do this. So I just started really trying to stay on top of all those things because, hey, I have an older truck and I want to stay, keep it as long as I had.
Right.
Another thing that I've seen that a lot of guys don't do was check your tires daily and keep them inflated properly. That's a big
I,
one.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, so you can rotate your tires regularly in an X pattern. It helps to keep your tires to wear evenly. And so what that means is a lot of places, if you go to them and you just tell them, "Hey, I want you to rotate my tires," a
Was
lot
you
of
trying to access the screen share?
no, not on this one
Oh,
yet.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was saying if you couldn't get it, I'll put it on display for you. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, you good. So with that X pattern, a lot of places, some shops, if you go to them and you just say, "Hey, I want you to rotate my tires," put the ones, just rotate them. What they're going to do is put the ones that's in the very rear on the front and vice versa. Just swap them out. If
Right.
you do it in the X pattern, which means the front driver set goes on the rear passenger set and vice versa. All the way front passenger drives go on the rear on the rear driver side. You swap them around like that, they have an opportunity to wear more evenly than just swapping them around. And just
Right.
try multiple ways, that you feel that's comfortable for you to do. But that's one way that when I became aware of it, I said, man, that's neat because most shops, if you say, can you rotate my tire? They're just gonna do the easiest way, swap them
Yep.
back around. That's the easiest thing for them. So that's what I would recommend, the X pattern.
Right.
Okay, so this next one, you can put up that
I got
slide. This next one, which I feel like is a big one, is knowing what type of tire application that you need. That's big. Most people don't know, and a lot of shops aren't going to tell you what you need. Not a lot of shops are going to ask you, well, what are you doing? Are you running local? Are you running highway? Are you running regionally? You sometimes have to tell them because if you go to them and say, hey, I want how much are these tires? How much are these tires? They're gonna tell you the price and they're just gonna give it to you. Not to say that they won't um, remember to ask you what type of application you need, but in a lot of cases, they're just gonna give you what you ask for.
right.
So, knowing the difference between the tires, don't put a long haul tire on your truck if you run locally. If you run and local is considered in the city up to about 200 to 300 miles. That would be considered local because you can be home every day doing that. You don't want to put a long haul tire running short haul because you're doing constant stopping and going. You're probably on a lot of dirt roads or back roads and stuff. And so that local driving, that constant stopping and going driving would tear that tire up. Vice versa. If you're running long haul, but you see a tire that's cheap, you see some $300 steer tires, well, they may say, well, this is a local tire. You don't want to put that local tire and you finna run 1,000 miles each way.
Right.
Every, you know what I'm saying? On each of your trips. You're not gonna get good fuel mileage and you're gonna tear that tire up. So know the tire application that you need. So that means just like I said, when you go to the shop, I run long haul. I'm looking for a highway tire. And then they'll show you what tires they have, for the brands that they carry.
Hmm.
And so this is real critical because this is where you're going to save money on your fuel costs. Also, all of them have fuel efficiency, you
As
know.
well as wear and tear too, and what I mean by that is, uh, like how many times in a year you have to repair certain things.
Right,
It a
right.
certain amount of dollars you spend. Let me know you ready for me to take that
Oh, you,
slide.
you, you can go and take that one down.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But go
And
ahead. That's
so,
all I was saying on that.
yeah, and that's a good one. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the difference retread versus new. Now, that's a big debate in the trucking industry. A lot of guys swear, "Hey, I'll never haul no retread tires. I'll never put those on my truck." But a lot of guys, if you look at it or just really pay attention to it, the companies you're leased on to, that's all they put on their trailers. The companies you lease to, a lot of them, that's all they put on their trucks. The tires that they keep. Now, of course, when they buy the trucks, buying them brand new, they come with brand new tires.
Right.
But those companies, they're putting 9 times out of 10 retread tires back on their trucks. So the thing is knowing what is a retread? Well, a retread tire is basically a used tire, a tire that's been used, and what they're doing is just putting new rubber over that tire and regrooving it, and it's basically like a new tire, but you don't have the same price tag as a new tire. So if you decide to go and get one of these name brand tires, Yokohama, Bridgestone, Goodyear, you're probably looking at about starting off at $400 probably,
This the
just for
retread or the new tire?
no, for a brand new tire.
Brand new tire. Okay.
You're probably looking at starting off at about $400 for a brand new drive tire.
Right.
But if you're doing the retread, actually getting your tires retreaded, you could probably do it for 200 and something, for half the price, or up to $300 per tire. So
Right.
one of the keys in knowing if that's going to be a good fit for you is I would recommend anybody to watch some videos, YouTube videos on a retread process to know how it's done. If you have any retread facilities in your area, I would hey, go and visit one because they do tours. They allow tours of their facilities so you can see the process and how they do it. Uh, so let's see. So it's good to know what grade of rubber that they use on tires. So Goodyear, I know Michelin, and you have one that's a real huge one in the country, Bandag. Those companies, they retread tires.
Right.
I've called and talked with Goodyear and Michelin. They explain the process to me. I've actually been to a Goodyear retreading facility down in Georgia, and they allowed me to watch them put, I brought in some rubber, and they allowed me to actually stand in there in their facility and watch them to retread the tire. They put a
Right.
whole new casing over that old tire and bake it in the oven, some type
Mm.
of oven, and bake that tire on there.
Melt
And
that
then
rub
that,
on there.
right. And
Yeah.
and read, but the key to that success is how good of a casing that you have. The casing is going to be a big factor in how well that tire stands up. So the rubber that is going on there, what grade of rubber that's going on there, who's actually doing the tire, like the type of process for them retreading the tire, and basically, like I said, how it's done. All those things go into play into determining how well of a tire that is. So let me see.
I
Now,
got a question while you're looking for your next thing
okay,
there.
yeah.
Um, doesn't the retread process also depend on the brand of tire you have?
In a lot of cases, yeah. Um,
Okay. Or would that be just a policy that a company would have when they retread in tires that like they call them Chinese tires around
uh,
here. The Chinese tires, they wouldn't retread those for whatever reason. I never got a
well,
real good reason why.
well, I will say this first, and I'll answer that one. Whatever tire it is that you're looking to get retreaded,
Right,
when you take it to them, they're going to look over it. They're going to examine it. They're going to tell you whether or not they can or can't retread that tire. They're just not going to go and retread a tire just because you bring it to them.
right,
So, but they'll tell you that they won't do some of those Chinese tires because of the way it's made, the type of material that it's made with.
right,
A lot of them talk about the way that the tire is made, the rubber that they have to put on there with the rubber from that foreign tire won't seat properly.
right,
The way they something about the baking process, it won't really seat properly. So they'll tell you, okay, well, we can't do this type of tire. But if you have any name brand tires, you
got
know they'll take those tires. But they can also look at the tire to see how old it is.
Right.
because that's a key. If it's a tire that's 6, 7 years old, 10 years old, they probably say, well, we're not gonna, you know, really do this tire.
Right.
And for those who may not know, I think you can retread the same tire for about 3 times, up to 3 times, 2 to 3 times. You can retread that same tire. And so one of the things you could do that I used to do, back when I didn't have a whole lot of cash, I remember taking my tires. This really works if you have some spare tires.
Right.
So I had about 2 spare tires. I went to the retreading facility and said, hey, can I get these tires retreaded? They'll allow you to, first of all, like we just said, they're going to let you know if they can retread that tire or not. If they accept them to retread them, they'll let you know what type of tire tread pattern that they have to choose from that you want to do you
Right.
know and so you could choose your tread pattern that they offer that you can put on there. Then they're going to tell you the time frame that, in my case, it was 2 weeks. And so what I did, because I was low on cash, I would take 2 tires, take it to the retreading facility.
Right.
After 2 weeks, they came back. I let them put those two on, took the old two off, sent them off. And I kept repeating that process until about, well, I'll say about 2 months, I had a whole new set of tires,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so that's one alternative for guys instead of just prolonging it and constantly just buying tires. That's one you can continue to run with your same tires and you're getting them retreaded. And so, like I said, in about 2 months, you'll have a set. Or the other thing, if you don't want to do it that way, which I've done, I know Priest has done too, if you're going to go and just go and buy a set of tires, let's say you go and bought a set of tires, and instead of you trading those tires in that's coming off your truck for a rebate, you hold on to them. And this work good for guys. You got somewhere to store the tires, or you got, what I'm saying, some type of facility you could store the tires.
Right.
But if
Extra
you could,
trailer on on your yard that maybe broke down, you could put them in. Make
right,
good spare tire.
exactly. So you can take those same tires, and when you get ready, take those tires in to get retreaded. you
Right.
know.
Right.
And now
Right.
when it's time for you to trade in the tires that's on your truck, you put those other retreads in, and you'll constantly
Right.
have tires in rotation.
Right.
You know,
Investing you a tire rack on the back of your truck and a tire rack
man,
under your trailer. You can tote
man,
2 spare tires with you, and it not be a problem, with you being able to secure it.
man, I'm glad you say that because it's been so many times I've been on the road, and on my truck I have uh, a tire rack, but I would put 2 tires back there,
Right.
one on the tire rack and one hooked right up against it on the
Right.
catwalk. And every time that I would have some type of leak or whatever, and they say, "Well, you got to change this tire out," it don't cost me $50.
Right.
That's it, as opposed to I got to buy one of their tires.
Right.
Because if you do a roadside, oh, they're gonna make sure. Just give me the cheapest tire. Okay, we're gonna bring you the cheapest tire out there,
Yeah.
and the cheapest tire is probably $400.
Right.
I had I
And
had a buddy.
mm, yeah,
The
go ahead.
cheapest tire they brought out to him was $700. So he had $1,000 roadside, just one tire change. And so just having your own tires, and as a spare, and going to change it out when you get to a shop, not costing you much money at all. What were you gonna say, Priest?
No, I was just gonna say that uh to make sure that when you using these tires, like if you got a retread tire that you using as a spare tire, don't depend on it because to last because it's gonna be dependent on a lot on how you drive.
Uh huh.
So if you blow a tire out, make sure you get another new tire as a replacement, whether you put it on your equipment immediately or not. But it's always good to have those tires. See, this method that Gene is talking about is to basically help keeping you from spending money on the road in foreign places. And what I mean by foreign, where people don't know you. Most of us in the areas that we stay, we got a tire guy that's gonna give us a good deal, that's gonna look out on us because we buying a whole set or what have you. But when you on the road, you're at that
Hmm.
mercy. You're at
Right.
their mercy, and it can cost you a lot of money. So make
That's
sure
true.
that when you having blowouts, that you're replacing those blowout tires with new tires, even if you're going to ride your retread until it blows out.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
that's
and
all I wanted to add in there.
right. And that was key because that was another thing I was going to mention was um, the retread tires are uh, from what I've seen, it depends on a lot of factors also. Now I'm not saying buy a retread over new tires, but what I am saying that's an alternative because the retread tires can last just as long as the new tires if you're
And it's saving money.
exactly if you're someone who taking care of the tires. Like I said,
Right,
it goes back to are you checking your tire pressure? Regularly? Are you running like a bat out of hell everywhere you go? Are you
right,
running over curbs and stuff like that? If that's who you are, you have those type of habits, then yeah, just stick with newer tires. Because every guy that I would talk to that said, well, I'll never put those on my truck, I would ask them two things. How often did you check your tires? They say, well, I wasn't checking my tires like that,
right,
and what were your driving habits? Because if you have bad driving habits, those tires aren't going to last long. The reason
right.
why I'm a big proponent of them is because I've had a set of drives, a set of retreads on my truck for 200,000 miles. And I went all over the country with them. That's because of how tried to maintain the truck and everything, and how I tried to maintain my tires. I was able to keep them, and I also ran local with a set of tires for 2 years doing retreads also.
Right.
So it really depends on your driving habits and how you run. Another tip that we wanted to talk about was saving money with your fuel. Now, this is something
Hold
that's
on, see,
free.
before you go there, just let me touch
Go
on one
ahead.
thing on the tire real quick.
Yeah.
See, the reason why is a lot of guys that say that they don't use retread, which they call recap. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't drive on these tires right, they can cause you a lot of damage. I
Mm-hmm.
personally, because I own trailers, I would use the retreads on my trailer
Mm-hmm.
because I had guys that I couldn't pretty much dictate how they drive. And if those retread blow on your truck, they can knock airbags out. That if you got the little side fenders or whatever, it could cause a lot of damage. So these are just money saving tips that we giving you. These ain't like lifelong fixes when we talk about the tires. This is
Right.
to help save you money because we're measuring it by what you spend in a year as well as a month. So
Right. And
right,
and
so yeah, so if you
yeah,
can make a
because
set of
and
tires last you 3, 4 years, hey, you're doing great, but, the
right.
method Eugene is giving you is a way to get there.
Right. And like I said, we just trying to give tips that may help you guys with what's going on right now. And like
Right,
I said, with the tires, it really depends on your habits, who you are. But one of the other things I want to discuss was saving money on fuel. Outside of just going to find cheap fueling locations, well, how fast are you driving your trucks?
right,
Which is habit, changing a habit that a lot of people have a hard time doing. A lot of guys are driving the posted speed limit. So if you're driving the posted speed limit and I know a lot of people who have the newer trucks, their trucks are already getting 7, 8 miles to the gallon, averaging for the week.
yeah,
Well, why not get 9, possibly 10? If you slow that truck down from 70, 68, 70, 75 miles an hour to 62,
right,
65, a lot of guys don't like driving that slow all over the country, but you'll be surprised that dropping that truck from 70 miles an hour to about 62, 65, you'll probably gain an extra half a mile to the gallon. Now, you do
right,
that over the course of a week, especially over the course of a month, and see how much money. Now, you can actually pay yourself an extra 3, 5 cents a mile, probably,
right,
on your fuel savings. You can put that money elsewhere. So that's one of the things I would say because it takes more fuel. It takes more energy for that truck to push that truck down the highway at 70 miles an hour than at 62, 65.
right,
And that's free. You know what I'm saying?
right.
That just takes you changing your habit. Another thing I wanted to discuss was join a trucking association. You know, there's a lot of them out there. You have some in your states, and you have a lot of well-known trucking associations. These associations can provide benefits like group insurance rates, maintenance discounts, load boards, and financial services. You know, what's the other thing? Now, if you're running over the road, consider running regionally. So if you're got a guy that's running crisscrossing the country, maybe consider running regionally. Staying within a 500-mile radius compared to crisscrossing the country allows you to possibly buy fuel in the same locations more frequently. It also allows you to keep a more steady fuel mileage, and it also allows you to better maintain your truck and build a relationship with shops along your route.
Right, right. You know, unless you running cross country on a consistent lane.
Exactly,
Yeah,
which a lot of guys aren't really doing, you
right,
know.
right.
And
But look, before you move on, I just want to say one thing about the association that you didn't touch on. When
okay,
you join in these associations, do research on who these associations stand for.
right,
It makes no sense to go join an association that doesn't stand for you, and they only stand for the corporate company.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But go ahead. I just want to touch
Yeah,
on
that's a good one. Lower insurance. Call your insurance provider, whoever your insurance provider is right now, and ask them about discounts for safety courses. You know, mileage limits, experience, or zero claims. What's the current value of your truck compared to when you bought it? You should get a cheaper rate because now your truck is older and is no longer the same value. You know, so that's a thing because if you had the same insurance for 5 years, but you hadn't got it reevaluated on, well, you bought the truck for 50,000, but now it's probably only worth 15,000, 20,000. So you want to get that reevaluated, and so that you can see maybe your premiums will come down every month.
it. Right.
Another thing I wanted to kind of speak on was I know a lot of guys who got their authority, probably especially over the pandemic. A lot of people went with progressive insurance. And a lot of people probably felt like, well, I'm gonna go with Progressive because I got my car insurance through Progressive. I got my homeowners insurance through Progressive. I have life insurance through Progressive. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my truck insurance through Progressive because they're willing to take me. Progressive insurance is gonna be at least, probably at least 2 times as high as
In a lot of
someone
cases.
else. Yeah, as
Yeah.
someone else. Now,
And then plus Progressive doesn't really specialize in commercial insurance for trucks. That's not their specialty. Their specialty is real estate.
right. Now, didn't you tell
Yeah.
me in a situation that an insurance agent, independent insurance agent, can go and get you that progressive insurance cheaper than what you can get it?
Any agent can get you insurance cheaper. It's just you have to be careful, you know, like with your agent. Like this is what I would suggest.
Yeah.
If you only got one truck, go with somebody like OOIDA. It's probably going to be your cheapest route. Please don't go get a quote from Progressive first because whoever quotes you, that's pretty much going to set the bar on what every other insurance company quotes you at.
Yeah.
So make sure you're careful about that. And if you grow past OIDA, I would suggest finding you a good insurance broker who can get you who can refer you to insurance. Because what a broker is going to do, they're going to offer you the best possible insurance based on what you ask them to do for you.
Okay.
Yeah, now the thing is with progressive is what I've been hearing, guys on the internet. Progressive don't want to stand in and pay that money when claims come in.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, because see, because trucking insurance is not their specialty. I don't even know why they even offer it if if they not going to stand, you know, when a claim comes. So I've
yeah.
been hearing about guys having issue with that with progressive. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I didn't know. Now, the limit on how many trucks will OIDA allow you to have before they say they're not gonna? Was it four, five
I don't
trucks?
hell. Um, Now before the pandemic, I don't know what they looking like now because I left them before the pandemic. Before the
Okay.
pandemic, they will penalize you. Like they would allow you to have 2 trucks, but come time renewal, they will penalize you, which is what I call it. They will increase your premium by a certain amount of percent
Okay.
because you added on additional truck. And what they told me was the reason why that is because they only at the time specialized in one truck operation. So
Mhm.
that's why it's a good start. If you got one truck, it's a good start. If you get 2 trucks in the middle of your plan before your year is up, they can't penalize you then. They can only penalize you at the renewal. So if you're going to start adding on trucks, just know when renewal comes, you may need to be shopping around somewhere else before you let OI to give you a quote because
Yeah.
they quote is probably going to be pretty high. So you get with an insurance agent and you just, you let them know the situation. Hey, I'm with OIDA. I've been hearing that if I got more than one truck, that I'll probably have a penalty. So I don't want to go get a quote from them and it set the bar too high for me. So what can you find for me? That's a an insurance broker's job to do, to answer
Right.
those questions for you with tangible information.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. Um,
Yeah.
I would say the last tip that I had was to join, find social media groups that you can join to connect with other owner operators, to exchange tips and other information on being profitable. You
Right.
know, still have to weed out the guys who, what I'm saying, don't really know what they're talking about. But find some good groups of take those tips that the guys are talking about, social media platforms, YouTube or whatever, and apply that to what you're doing, and hopefully you'll learn something and just educate yourself and moving on forward.
Right. And when you're talking to these guys that are owner operators, and understand this here. Uh my terminology of an owner operator, and this is no offense to
Hmm.
nobody who own their own truck. My terminology of an owner operator is someone who has their own MCDOT number and business name. They're operating under their own business. They're booking their own loads. They got their own company. They're not attached to a bigger company.
Right.
Those are leased on carriers in most cases, and I refer to them as independent contractors, which they're both generally the same. That's just how I separate the two with the way that I try to explain it to people.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I just wanted to say that to keep that in mind that we're when we talk about insurance, we're basically talking to the owner operator.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, on that part. When we talk about the tires, we're talking about everybody else because when you leased on with a company, chances are you're going to be getting that company's insurance at a discount rate. You're not
You are
going to pay the full weight of it like a regular owner operator will.
right. You don't have premiums of like a down payment to pay.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it could get a little tricky. It's just that it's a science to any kind of business that you're running, but being that trucking carries so many expenses, um, it's it can get a little bit dicey. But back to the owner operator part, speak to an owner operator that's
Hmm.
been an owner operator under their own MC number for at least 5 years. Reason I say that because at that 5 year point, that that owner operator most likely has experienced everything from taxation, low rates, good rates, bad rates, equipment breakdown, being told whether he had a breakdown or he got towed out of a parking spot. He gonna be able to give you a lot of meat
Hmm.
that you need. Uh, so yeah, try to talk to a owner operator, not an independent contractor, a owner operator who's actually been operating under their own MC, not just having an MC, actually been operating under their MC number for at least 5 years. Because if you talk to anybody, below that, most likely they're not going to include quarterly taxes in their conversation
Right.
because a lot of guys when they first get in it, they don't even understand that they have to pay their taxes like that because they're coming out of a company truck or as a lease owner operator, somebody been handling that process for them.
Mhm.
And when you see that you done gross $250,000 in a year or better, it's kind of hard to understand that you got to pay about 70 grand of that back in tax.
Yeah.
You know, so just keep that in mind as well. Yeah, but that's all I want to interject on.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was done with my tips and everything.
Right.
Hopefully everybody take them, take them to heart, and hopefully if you can find a way to apply it to what you're doing,
Right.
hopefully it helps you in some way.
Yeah. See, these tips only work if you put them to work.
You put them to work.
Yeah, you have to put them to work. Running a truck, even on your off days, you're still working because you
Hmm.
have equipment to take care of. So you just have to keep that
Yeah.
in mind.
And what do you have to lose? If what you've
You got a
already
lot
been
to
doing,
lose if you
well,
don't do it right.
well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But if you've been complaining, and you've been trying to find a way and
Right.
wondering what is, these a lot of these tips. If you haven't already considered these tips, if it applies to you, then cool. If it doesn't, hey, you consider these tips and just figure out, okay, how can I lower my insurance? How can I lower my fuel consumption? Either slowing my truck down and
Right.
finding me some more discounts and stuff out there, fuel discounts. Who knows how much you can probably save per month by doing some of these tips that we're suggesting.
Yeah, you will save a lot, but it's just going to take just a little bit more tedious activity in your schedule. But it's worth it because it's about actually seeing where your money is.
Right.
You
You
know,
know,
yeah.
just
Go
them
ahead.
using the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
When you look at that spreadsheet and you input all your numbers in there, just use that spreadsheet for the course of a week,
Right.
for the
Right.
course of a month. Look back a
Yeah.
whole. I was like, dang, I thought I made three
Yeah.
thousand this week, and I made 5,000 this week, and
Right.
then here at the end of the month, no wonder I ain't been making no. All my money been going here,
Right.
or all my money been going over there. Like,
Exactly.
dang. So now you got something to look at to say, this is what I need to do going
You
forward.
got analytics. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where I came from. According to this is where I'm headed, but I
Right.
got the opportunity to steer the ship where I want to go.
Yeah. If you look
You
on
know.
that list and you see that the bulk of your expenses that month came from eating out of the truck stops, well, you might come out cheaper buying some cookware, air fryer, which I see a lot of you guys have it in the truck, and just
Hmm.
buying fresh groceries and
Right.
just cooking, in your truck. Just little stuff like that. If it's entertainment. Every time you stop somewhere, I want to go see a movie and I want to go out to eat, and you're doing this every time you stop. Okay, you may need to pull back on that. So that's the purpose of that. Of using a budget tracker, whether it be an app or a spreadsheet, to keep analytics on your spending. Because when you're running your business, it's not like working for a company. When you work for a company, if I make $1,200 this week, that $1,200 is mine. I can spend it how I want. I don't have to worry about nothing outside of my personal life that money could be used for. But when you running a business, you got your business got to have a checking account, and you got to have a
Mm,
checking account.
right.
But the thing is, that equipment is just like the body. The body may need a kidney transplant. That truck may need a new engine.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And both those processes cost big money.
Right.
So the budget tracker and everything that Gene just explained to you about getting the most out of your equipment as far as efficiency, it goes hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
since we're talking about efficiency, bro,
Yeah.
we see big truck companies still making big moves. We
Hmm.
got this company here. I'm gonna read the story here. It's really a two-part story here. You got two companies that either sold their whole company to another trucking company or sold a portion or a sector
Okay.
of their company to another trucking company. So at first we're gonna talk about Ford Air, which is the trucking logistic company. Uh, uh, they went through well, they're going through major strategic shifts, including the sale of its business unit that they sold to
Okay.
Hub Group,
Yeah.
as it refocuses on core offerings, admin decline in financials. Earlier this year, 2023, Ford Air announced the $262 million sale of its final mile delivery unit to Hub Group. The company said this supports its efforts to diversify into more non-asset based logistics service. So they selling a unit that's not actually of the trucking, but more on the brokering and the logistics side. But
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
Ford Air faced challenges in the first quarter of this year. They reported that they had a 8.5% revenue decline, a
Okay.
38.8 decrease in operating income for its expedited freight segment. This
Okay.
appears to have motivated the final mile sale. So these are two different divisions that they have. So what we are uh, suspicious about is if they sold their final mile segment to Hub Group to put more money into their expedited freight segment. But but more on this, CEO Tom Smith, he said the company's growth forward strategy is focused on expanding high value LTL freight business. Selling the poor performing final mile unit aligns with streamlining operations around LTL. Anybody who's been paying attention to the news and on social media, we know that the shippers are paying higher rates for
Mhm.
LTL
For
shipments
LTL.
now. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So uh furthermore, the sale comes at a time of strategic realignment for Ford Air. While financial struggles continue, the company aims to focus where it sees greater growth opportunities in its core offering. So the way I look at that, Hub Group is really helping them out. So all trucking companies don't compete with each other because Hub Group probably could have easily just fell back any other company as well, just to see if they was gonna hurt any more to put them out of commission. But they actually,
Right.
in a sense, possibly bailed them out, bailed Ford Air out by buying this division so that they could possibly invest more into the expedited segment. But we also got another company. It's a Canadian transportation and logistic company, TFI International.
Okay.
They just announced that they acquired the US-based flatbed trucking operator, Dasky, in a deal valued at, check this out, $1.1 billion in the middle of a freight recession. A recession.
Mhm.
Very interesting to me. So,
Right.
a little breakdown of how this purchase came about. TFI is set to pay $8.30 per share for Dasky, representing they will be representing a 69% premium on its recent share price. The acquisition will expand TFI's truckload segment and make it one of the largest truckload businesses in Canada. Dasky operates a fleet of over 4,500 tractors and 10,500 flatbed trailers, providing heavy haul transportation across North America. The company specializes in hauling cargo like agricultural products, construction materials, and oversized loads requiring specialized equipment. According to TFI, the purchase supports their strategy to grow their truckload operation. It also provides exposure to industrial and specialized freight markets. TFI states they may eventually spin off the combined truckload business into a separate public company, allowing TFI to focus on its other segments like LTL and logistics. The deal is expected to close in the second quarter of 2024. It comes during a
Okay.
period of softened freight demand compared to pandemic highs. This major acquisition represents further consolidation in the trucking industry and TFI's effort to expand their truckload scale and offering. Now, I want people to focus on this part here.
Yeah.
TFI will buy where they will pay $8.30 per share for Dasky they will be representing 69%, not 100, 69% of the premium on its recent share price. Now, let me break that down.
Okay.
Whoever is the other 31% shareholder still got stake in this company.
Mm,
You see what I mean? So
right.
that's what I want people to understand when we looking at this stuff and when we criticizing corporate and all this nonsense that's going on. We talking about people with billions of dollars who never drove a truck, never been in the truck industry, and they're investing into the industry and absorbing everything in the industry from the independent guy who actually got blood, sweat, and tears in this game.
Right.
And that's the ugly sight. I saw a video. I should have saved it and posted it here, where the owner of Dansky, I can't think of his first name, but his last name is Dansky, and he said in the interview, he said when this was brought to me about buying this heavy haul trucking division, I was like, I don't know anything about trucking, but
Mm,
somebody talked him into going on and investing into the business, and he just made billions on top of billions by doing that. So that's what we got to understand, and we have to ask the question: are we really in a freight recession, or does it only apply to certain people in the industry? Meaning
right.
not by color, but by class. The
Yeah.
class that you in this industry, whether you're small, medium, or just large. See, you got uh mega companies, corporate companies, and so forth. If you small, medium, or large, you might be feeling the hit of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
And and one thing I wanted to point out that's interesting to me, with the Hub Group and Forward Air story,
right?
Hub Group is giving that they're going to be paying Forward Air 262 million in cash.
Mm,
Basically, they're gonna write them a check for
mm.
262 million cash, not over 5 years, not terms, not 100 million now and the rest over a certain time. No,
But they
262
project
million
it's
cash.
gonna make 481 million the first year, right? And every year
Right.
after, right?
Right, because Hub Group, they said just, for the past year, the end of third quarter, they generated 289 million doing that specific business model. So it made sense for them. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and buy this, because this will, like you said, that projection, hey, we can make double that basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And my issue is that, again, like I said earlier on this recording, is that in a recession or a depression, we all supposed to be doing bad. How the hell is this happening? You know what I mean? I I I don't go along with, well, that's a bigger company, blah blah blah. That's bull crap to me. If we're in a recession or a depression, why are these companies still, companies like Swift, Hub Group, Flexport, who bought Convoy Software,
Right.
how are they still able to make these investments and they got us believing it's a freight recession? Somebody need to answer that.
Well,
But we might need to be careful, because if we put too much heat on, we might get another regulation tacked on us from the FMCSA.
well, that's exactly what happened. You know, and what we say, um, they'll come up with one regulation, which they don't call it a new regulation. They call it just a hearing because they don't do actual rulings on everything, and
Right,
so they'll have one, and then while you're fighting that one, they'll come up with another one, and so you stop fighting about the original one and go to this new one and fight. So now you're everywhere trying to represent yourself in these wildfires,
right,
you know.
right, right. So so again, like I said earlier, when and are we going to do something? Shouldn't we
Yeah,
be tired by now of this bull crap going on? Man, these people are telling us one thing and then doing it right in our face. I mean, hey, you ever been with a girl and she's like, I can't kick it tonight. I'm I'm gonna go to bed early. Then
yeah,
doggone it, you see, what I'm saying, you go to McDonald's and get you something to eat, and there she go. 3 hours later, passing by with her friends or another dude or something. Right there in your face. And then when you ask her about it, want to act like you didn't just see that.
Yeah.
That's what they doing to us in the freight industry. They telling us it's a freight recession. And they paint the picture so well. Convoy goes out of business, Yellow goes out of business. Let me tell y'all something. Them rich people got friends. The name disappears, but the business stays. It just stays under a different umbrella. I mean, you just heard me say that uh uh what's that TFI? Yeah, that was the story. TFI, they only
Uh-huh.
buying in 69% premium ownership. So they still leaving them a little bit left to have ownership in with that 31%, whoever they are,
Mm,
whether it's Dansky or whatever.
right.
These people don't go nowhere. It's just the label change.
Hmm.
Just like Great Value and Great Value mayonnaise and the name brand mayonnaise. It
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
gonna be some similar taste to it. It's just a different label on it.
That's it.
And that's what we gotta understand. That's why we have to understand that unity is very important
Mm-hmm.
because they playing games with us. They sitting around, they getting richer while we're hurting. And then what's so crazy is when you look at the economy's not doing bad. It's just the transportation portion of it. I like to know who came up
Yeah.
with the economic model to be able to separate that because it used to work, all of it used to work hand in hand together. That's what
Mm-hmm.
makes me feel like somebody got their thumb on the scale.
Well,
Because when you start altering the economic model, which is supposed to perform automatically based off what the economy do, I don't understand how you could say that we got a freight recession, but the economy is good. I don't understand that. I mean, we don't eat digital food.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm not understanding that. Somebody just really have to educate me on it, and I love to learn. So if it's somebody that can educate me on that, I'm more than open to listen to it because that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Maybe we can get an economist on here and try to explain some
Exactly,
something
exactly.
like that.
Exactly. Just expect me to call you out on BS if it don't make sense. I'm gonna tell you, hey, that don't make sense. That you know what I'm saying. You better come with a higher level of explaining that to where you just absolutely going over my head because a
Mm,
lot don't get past me. Even when it get past me, it don't get past me. I'll come back a week later and bring up some stuff
yeah.
because you know what I'm saying. Because I don't want you to think you got me. No sir, no sir.
yeah.
So So I'm just not getting how I mean, $1.1 billion
Yeah. That's a lot.
in the middle of a freight
And
recession.
yeah, 1.1 billion, and it's not the whole company. So,
It's
like,
like they
wow.
said, you know what, y'all having some financial troubles. We're gonna come in and we're gonna buy these shares, we're gonna make money with you. And then later on down the road, you might see TFI sell their shares back to Dansky. But we've been to forgot about this story.
Hmm. Yeah.
Unless it's a journalist that pulls this up and bring it back up, if and when that goes down, we'll been to forgot about that Dansky once owned that percentage of the company anyway.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to bring that up about, I just want to know, man, if you guys in the man, if you guys just get in the comments, what do you think about that? I mean, just tell me. I like to know because I don't think I'm the smartest person, but I know damn well I'm not the dumbest either.
Yeah. So they had 4,500 trucks. Okay.
Yeah,
4,500 trucks
and
and
ten thousand
10,000.
five hundred trailers. They was pulling oversized, specialized equipment,
Right.
the expensive stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That milk and honey.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know
So
some of you guys are gonna say, well, I pull dry vans, that don't affect me. You heard me say that TFI has a LTL division, dry van division as well. So they're around, I call it rounding the wagons around us.
yeah,
Because they're not just staying in their own division of dry van and LTL, they're expanding out
right. Cause
into
they
more.
Yeah, cause they in the agriculture, manufacturing, and construction.
My
And
dad's team.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's coming into your sector, agriculture and manufacturing. That's coming into your sectors.
Right, right. And not only just with the purchase of uh uh 69% of Dansky, they're it also opened doors up for the business that they already have. It also opened up new doors for them in this country, which a lot of drivers been complaining about. Canadian drivers and Mexican drivers coming over and assisting with dropping the rate.
Yeah,
So now you got a Canadian based company that done bought up most of an American based company. You're gonna see a lot of Canadian drivers now with a purpose now coming through here with a purpose. So so we got to think about that. You know, do you really want a long lasting career in this? Do you really want a legacy in this? Do you really want to build your own personal franchise in this? And if the answer is yes to any of those, you got to be concerned about news like this.
yeah, yeah. Definitely got to figure out a way, and being a part of finding a way to change the problem.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, by the way, please, everyone, don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, we're gonna give away that budget tracker
Yeah,
for free. Again, go back to the video. Remember to make copies of it. But please show your love and support by subscribing to our channel. I mean, we're a little bit over 50 followers now. Don't y'all laugh at me. I know that's not a lot, but to me,
hey, I'm
for this
excited.
to be about this platform to be about a month old, and we got 50 people, well, over 50 people that's interested in what
What
we
we have
have
to
to
say,
say.
right?
It means a lot to me.
Hmm.
And and for those 50 subscribers that may not have caught the show, we will, if you don't mind, we will we will go to your YouTube channel one by one and pull your email, and we want to make sure we send that budget tracker to you. We don't want you to miss out on this free giveaway of the budget tracker, because I know everybody may not catch this channel at a proper time, but we want to make sure you guys have it because,
Right.
again, like I said, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's something I'm appreciative of too. Just watching the analytics of uh, the age group
Yeah,
that's watching also, and so we try to make sure that we having something. We're not necessarily trying to tailor to one group over another, but we're trying to make sure offering some advice for everybody. That you can take on because it's dealing with the whole industry, and so hopefully you find something in what we said that can help you out on your day to day.
yeah. Well. See, the thing about the older group is that it's funny to me, and I got to say this, and I don't care if a lot of them get offended.
Uh huh.
Eugene and I are only as good, and I'm talking about the ones we know. We only as good to the guys that's from our generation or before us in the trucking industry is when they ass fall on their face. That's 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 it. And they really don't want to have to ask our opinion because we're so much younger than a lot of them. Because the older generation, that's another issue. They're very egotistical. They don't feel like anybody can tell them anything or they can learn nothing new. So we appreciate the ones who are in that generation who think like us, or even if you don't think like us and you just like what we saying and you want to support us, hey, we appreciate it. Again, that means a lot to us because I know a lot of us in the generation, because I'm from the early 2000s generation. as well as Eugene. That's when my driving career started.
Right.
And we know guys who've been doing it ever since the 80s and the 90s, and you can't tell them nothing. Even when they ask for your advice, you still can't tell them nothing. So Eugene
Yeah.
laughing is funny because we
Yeah,
still love them, but hey, I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
yeah,
That's just what it is.
there's a lot of them that way. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, but to the younger generation, all of them are not that way. We're just talking about our personal experience with some of the ones that we know. You can't tell them nothing until they fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that to happen to you, the ones who like the content that we put out, think like us, see the industry the way we see it, or can relate to some of the things. We don't want you falling flat on your face. You know, falling flat on your face meaning it's over with. But you can
Mm-hmm.
fall, but we want to give you that information that's going to allow you to pick yourself back up. It's good to fall
Right.
because
Learn a
because
lot.
you right, yeah, you learn a lot. You see what it feels like to fail
Right.
and to be able to pick yourself back up.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the supporters that we want. I think we could build an army that we can make, that we could shift a lot of this nonsense that's going on here. Uh, I would like us to build an army to where we could have a voice with the FMCSA, with the bagging of organizations like OOIDA and NASTY, because there's only so much that they can do uh, if we're not doing it, our part.
Mm-hmm.
So we really want to change this industry, not only just for us, but for our children who want to be in it, whether they want to work the office of a trucking business or actually be in the office of the actual truck. And so life could be easy. This career shouldn't be this stressful.
No.
And that's pretty much what I want to say on that. That's you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm just saying, like we said, man, we just hope that you guys take to heart everything we're saying, all the advice that we've given, the tools that we've tried to equip you guys to learn. So whether you're young or old, hopefully you found something that you can apply that help you out in your day to day business.
Right. And we're gonna keep them coming. And again, be safe. We love y'all.
All